What's up guys, back at it again. We are looking at ACS Junior Prelim Examination for 2024, Paper 1, Booklet B. Alright, we'll be going through some of the questions in this paper. I'm going to skip question 16 because it is pretty straightforward, just a matter of subtraction of decimals. Alright, we're going to jump right into question 17 right now. Find the value of 5 over 7 times 8 over 15. Whenever we have the multiplication of fractions, what we want to do is to simplify it as much as we can. If we divide by 5 on both ends here, we have 1 and 3. And from there, what we can do is numerator times the numerator. 1 times 8 will give me 8. Denominator times denominator, 7 times 3 will give me 21. Now what they say is to give your answer in its simplest form. Can we divide the numerator and the denominator with the same number? From the looks of things, no. And therefore, this is your answer for question 17. Now moving right on to the next question, question 18. The figure shows the net of a cuboid. This is my sentence number 1. Moving on to sentence number 2, it says the cuboid has a square base. What does that tell me? That this or this is the base. Alright, sentence number 3 says find the volume of the cuboid. From the figure, what I can see is that this length over here is 8 cm. So what I'm going to do is to halve that to find the length of my square. Right, so 8 cm divided by 2, that will give me 4 cm. I know now that my length and my breadth of my cuboid is 4 cm. Now, what I'm left with is the height, which is this length over here. Likewise, from the figure, I can see that the entire length of the figure is 20 cm. From here, I can see that 20 cm equals to 4 cm plus my height of the cuboid plus another 4 cm plus another height of the cuboid. So from here, what I can do is take 20 cm minus 8 cm. That will give me 2 of my height, which is 12 cm. And my height would definitely be 6 cm. Alright, so now we're going to find the volume of the cuboid. What I want to do is to draw out the figure, okay, in the cuboid form so that you guys can visualize it with me. So I have 4 cm over here, 4 cm over here, and for my height that would be 6 cm. So the volume of cuboid would just be 4 times 4 times 6, and that would give me 96 cm cubed. And that is your answer for question number 18. Okay, moving on to question 19. The question says, shade 2 squares to form a symmetric figure with AB as the line of symmetry. Now, what does symmetry mean? Symmetry means that whatever is on one side of the line, a mirror image must reflect on the other side of the line. So if we were to look at line AB, we can see that there are definitely some areas of this figure that is not symmetric. And we need to shade 2 squares to make it symmetric. So what I like to do is to highlight the line of symmetry. When I do that, it makes things clearer for me. And I want to branch out. I always want to branch out from this line of symmetry in a perpendicular line. Okay, I'm not going to go sideways like that. But what I want to do is to go perpendicular at a 90 degree from the line of symmetry. So as I can see down here, these two are definitely symmetric. For this one, there is something missing over here. So what I want to do is to just shade this in. Alright, and now it is symmetric. Okay, back to this. You can see that this is symmetric. Now for here, something is missing here, right? So I'm going to fill it up. There you go. And let's check the rest of it. And there you have it. Everything is symmetric right now. And there you go. This is your answer for question 19. But I want y'all to be very careful. Please do not leave the lines inside. Now moving on to question 20. What do we have here? We have a figure that is shaded on some parts and unshaded on some. Okay, let's read the question. In the figure below, find the shaded area. We are given the length, which is 12 centimeters, and the breadth of the figure, which is 5 cm. And we are told that these two lines, which I'm going to represent in two different colors, are the same. So what we want to do here is to find what the colored lines are. If they are exactly the same and the total length is 12 cm, I know that these are definitely 6 cm because I'm taking 12 cm divided by 2, and that will give me 6 cm. Alright, so moving on from here, we want to find the area of this triangle first. Okay, so the area of triangle is pretty straightforward. Area of triangle equals to half times length times height. So I have half. I'm going to fill in the length. So for this triangle over here, I am going to highlight it. Okay, I'm going to highlight this triangle over here. Whenever I am looking at a figure, I want to highlight to make sure I know exactly what I am looking at. Okay, so half times my length, that would be 6 cm, times my height, that would be 5 cm. And that will give me 15 cm square. For the next triangle, the one over here, I can see that the base is 12 cm and the height is also 5 cm. So what I can say is that the area of this triangle is half times 12 cm times 5 cm. And that would give me 30 cm square. Now looking back at the question, it says to find the shaded area. The shaded area will just be the two triangles that we found added together. So we have 15 cm square plus 30 cm square. And that would give me 45 cm square. And that is your answer for question number 20. Okay, next question. We have question 21a. It says find the value of 2 over 5 plus 3 over 8. Whenever we are adding fractions, the first thing we want to do is to make the denominator the same. So to find a common denominator, right off the bat, I know that my common denominator is 40. How do I get that? I'm going to multiply this side, the bottom and the top, by 8, and the other side by 5. And therefore, I will get something over 40 plus something over 40. 2 times 8, that will give me 16, plus 3 times 5, that would be 15. And my answer will be 31 over 40. Okay, moving on to B. Let's read the question together. Express 2.68 as a mixed number in the simplest form. Alright, before we start, we want to split these two up. 2.68 to 2 and 0.68. Right, because my whole number will stay whole. But my decimal, I will need to change that into a fraction. Now, what I can do is to change this into 68 over 100. Now, I want to simplify this. Now, what I can do is to divide the top by 4 and the bottom by 4. This will give me 17 over 25. And this is what 0.68 equates to in fractions. Now, we want to bring the two parts together once again. Therefore, the answer is 2 whole 17 over 25. Moving on to the next question, 22. Peter placed some cups into a box and the total mass was 4 kg. Alright, this is sentence number 1. Next, sentence number 2. We have James placed some plates into a similar box and the total mass was 10 kg. Alright, sentence number 3. The plates were 3 times as heavy as the cups. Now, when I see this over here, I immediately want to think of multiples. The concept of multiples, whenever I see twice, thrice, 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times, this is the concept that we think about. And whenever we are dealing with this concept, we want to draw a model. Okay, I don't have any space right there, so I'm going to draw at the bottom over here. The plates are 3 times as heavy as all the cups. So I'll have 3 units for my plates and 1 unit for my cups. Can you see right there? Now, what can I do with this information? Firstly, I know that the box plus the plates equals to 10 kg. The box plus the cups equals to 4 kg. Now, knowing that the plates is 3 cups, I want to change this. Box plus 3 cups equals to 10 kg. If I were to take box plus 3 cups minus away box plus cup, that would give me 10 kg minus 4 kg. And what I'll be left with is 2 cups equals to 6 kg. Therefore, my cup is equals to 6 kg divided by 2, and that will give me 3 kg. So from this, I know that the box equals to 1 kg, the cups equals to 3 kg, the plates equals to 9 kg. These are all the information that I can get out of this. Alright, now let's look at the statements. Then we gotta decide true, false, or not possible to tell. Alright, the mass of the plates was 9 kg. That checks out. Alright, this is true. The mass of the box was 1/4 the mass of the cups. Now, is that true? With the box being 1 kg and the cups being 3 kg, it is 1/3 the mass of the cups. So it is definitely not 1/4 the mass of the cups. Now, let's look at C. The mass of 1 plate is more than the mass of 1 cup. Now, do we know how many plates this is and how many cups this is? No, we do not know. Therefore, it is impossible to tell whether the mass of 1 plate is more than the mass of 1 cup. And that is your answer for question number 22. Alright, moving on to the next question, question number 23. The timetable below shows the time of 4 different trains from city X to city Y. Alright, so we have 4 trains, A, B, C, and D. Alright, so now let's look at A. Find the time taken for train D, this one over here, to travel from city X to city Y. Okay, whenever we are faced with such a question, we want to label this is a question of time. Whenever we have a question of time, we go to A, B, C, D. Once again, I'm going to explain. Always make it whole. Break it up. Cancel out. And draw a timeline. Alright, these are the ABCDs that we want to use whenever we are faced with a time question. Alright, let's look at D. Alright, it starts at 9:05 a.m. and it ends at 11:20 a.m. Okay, first things first, what we can do is to add an hour, just 1 hour to this, and that will give me 10:05 a.m. Alright, from there we can add another hour. 1 more hour, that would be 11:05 a.m. And you realize that from 11:05 to 11:20, right, it is only 15 minutes. So the time taken for train D to travel from city X to city Y is 1 hour plus 1 hour plus 15 minutes. That would give me 2 hours and 15 minutes. And that is your answer for A. Moving on to B. Sue wants to take a train to CTY. Alright, this is my first sentence. Right, looking at the second sentence, it says her watch shows 8:20 a.m. when she arrives. 8:20 a.m. when she arrives at the station in CTX. Now, she realizes that her watch is 10 minutes slower. When a watch is 10 minutes slower, the time is not accurate anymore. So we need to adjust the time to find what is the actual time that she arrived at the station in CTX. When her watch shows 8:20 a.m. and is 10 minutes slower, what we want to do is to plus. Okay, when it's slower, we want to plus that 10 minutes to find the actual time. So actually, the time is 8:30 a.m. Alright, so if the time is 8:30 a.m. when she arrived at CTX, let's look at the available trains that she can take. Alright, she definitely can't take A because the train leaves at 8:15 a.m. and if it's 8:30, it's already past that. Same with B. Right, so the next train that she can take is C. If she takes train C, the earliest that she can reach CTY would be 11 a.m. And therefore, the answer to B is 11 a.m. Now, moving along to question 24. A rectangular piece of paper is folded as shown. The question asks us to find angle Y. Alright, for a question like this, it's definitely angles, right? Before we start this question, we have to understand that a rectangular piece of paper will always have corners of 90 degrees. Alright? And we can see from the second part of the picture, right? After being folded, this is 90 degrees. Alright, so we can find this angle over here that I want to call X using the sum of angles in a triangle. We can find angle X. Angle X would just be 180 degrees minus 78 minus 90, and that would simply give me 12 degrees. Because the sum of angles in a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. Now that we have found X to be 12 degrees, I want you to understand that when you fold a piece of paper, the angle is doubled. And before we fold the piece of paper, the angle at this corner is 90 degrees. So if I were to just do a rough sketch of what it was before, this is 90 degrees. If this is 12, this over here has to be 12 degrees as well. And Y, angle Y is simply 90 degrees minus 12 degrees. And that would give me 66 degrees. And that is your answer for question 24. Now moving on to question 25. Tom and Jerry were playing hide and seek at a playground. The grid below shows the positions of the different points that they were standing. Alright, so immediately I can see that this question is a 8-point compass kind of question. Now let's look at A. Tom walked directly from point J all the way to point W in a straight line. So Tom started off over here and he walked straight directly to point W. In which direction did Tom walk from point J? So if this is north, this has to be south, east and west. Now we want to list out our diagonals as well. So this would be northeast, this would be southeast, this would be southwest and northwest. So if Tom headed from J all the way to W, he is heading in the northeast northeast direction, and therefore your answer for this is northeast. Now let's look at B. Jerry was standing from a certain point facing point A. Alright, he turned 180 degrees clockwise and faced point Z. So what it means is that if he's facing point A from here, when he turned 180 degrees, he would be facing point Z over here. So it has to be in this orientation. Now let's see what the question is asking. Which were all the possible points Jerry could be standing at? Now we see that point A is over here and point Z is over here. And if he were to be facing A and turned 180 degrees to face Z, he has to be either here, here, or here. So the answer for this question is G, M, or T. Alright, let's move on to question 26. The line graph shows the volume of water in a tank over 40 minutes. Moving on to the next sentence. Tap A was turned on for 40 minutes for water to flow into the tank. Next sentence. 15 minutes after tap A was turned on, tap B was also turned on. So as you can see, this is the point where B is turned on. Tap A was on from the start. Alright, let's look at the question A. What is the increase in volume of water over the first 10 minutes? So the 10 minutes that we are going to be looking at is the first 10 minutes, which is from here all the way to here. If we look at the line graph, we can see that there are 4 increments, 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the way to 100. And from there, we can just do a calculation, 100 divided by 4 to get 25. And we know that each increment is 25. So therefore, I have 25 liters, followed by 50, followed by 75. So I can see that at minute 0, my water level is at 75 liters, and at minute 10, my water would be at 125. So we can see that at minute 0, the water level was at 75 liters, and at minute 10, the water was at 125 liters. So if I were to take 125 liters minus 75 liters, I will find the increment, and that would simply be 50 liters. And that is your answer for A. Okay, moving on to B. How many liters of water flowed into the tank in 1 minute after tap B was turned on? So we want to look at the line graph. The moment that B was turned on was at the 15-minute mark. And we can see that at the 15-minute mark, the water level was at 150 liters. At the 20-minute mark, the water was at 225 liters. Alright, so for the first 5 minutes after tap B was turned on, the increment of the water was 225 liters minus 150 liters, and that is 75 liters. But knowing that this is a straight line, we can just divide 75 liters by 5 to get the increment for the first 1 minute. And that would be 15 liters of water in the first minute after tap B was turned on. And this is your answer for B. Okay, let's move on to question 27. Eileen had some posters. We do not know how many posters she has. She bought 5k new posters and added them to the posters she had. This is sentence number 2. Sentence number 3 says, however, 2 new posters were torn and she was left with 18k posters. Right, the question asks us to express the number of posters Eileen had at first in terms of K. How do we tackle this question? I am going to tackle this question using this method called working backwards. So whatever they add, I am going to subtract. Whatever they subtract, I am going to add. So I'm going to start with 18K posters. With these 18K posters, what happened? 2 posters were torn, right? So it's a subtract. But instead of subtract, I'm going to add the 2 posters. And then, before that, she bought 5K new posters. So when she buy, it's adding on, right? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to minus away the 5K. And that will give me 18K plus 2 minus 5K. 18K minus 5K, that will give me 13K. And my plus 2 remain. And this is my answer to question 27. Moving on to question 28. 6 similar cubes were stacked to make a solid figure such that it has the following top and front views. So from the top, it looks like this. And from the front, it looks like this. What I want to do is visualize it. In fact, I want to draw out what it might look like for you guys so that you can visualize it with me. Alright, so I'm just going to draw the 3D image of this figure. Alright, so this is the 2 at the front. Okay, and then I have 3 at the back, right? Right, so it should look something like this. And then from the front, it looks like it has 3 at the bottom, which is what I already have, and 1 at the top, right? So maybe the 1 would be over here. Are you seeing this? Alright, so if we were to look at it from the side, which is over here, it would look something like this. So we have 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. And that is your answer for question 28. Alright, moving on to question 29. Zhixiang went to a shop to buy a bag. Does this sentence give us any information? Yes, a bag gives us a number. That means he bought 1 bag. Alright, the shop gave a discount of $5 for every $25 spent. Now, sentence number 3. Zhixiang paid $96 for a bag. That 1 bag cost $96. Now, what is the question? The question says, what was the price of the bag before the discount? Looking at this question, I know that I am looking at a number of sets questions. Why? Because I want to see how many discounted amounts did he pay for within the $96 for a bag. So I know that he paid a total of $96, and for every $25 he minus away $5, and that would give me $20. So my question is, how many $20 can you fit inside the $96, or how many sets of 20 can we fit inside 96? So what do? We take 96 divided by $20, and that would give me 4 sets with a remainder of $16. So what we can do with this information is to know that there are 4 sets of discounts. So I'm going to take 4 times the $5 offs that he was given, and that would give me $20. And I'm going to add that to the $96 that he paid, and that would give me $116, and this is my answer for question 29. Alright, let's move on to question 30. STUV is a rectangle. STUV is the one that I'm highlighting right now. STUNV. Okay, it's a rectangle made up of triangles ACD and E and a four-sided figure B. Alright, this is sentence number 1. Let's move on to sentence number 2. The ratio of the area of B to the area of C is 3:1. Alright, so I want to list that down below. Okay, this is 3, this is 1. Right, B is to C, 3:1. Now, moving on to the next sentence, I can see that the ratio of the area of A to the area of D to the area of E is 2:3:1. Using another color, I want to do the same thing to label them. 2:3:1. A is to D is to E is 2:3:1. Alright, that is my sentence number 3. Now, last sentence. Express the area of A as a fraction. They are looking for a fraction of the area of B. Now, looking at the figure, I can see that the triangle that consists of B and C, the one that I'm highlighting over here, is half the area of the rectangle. Because if this is the base of the triangle, this is the height. And I know that the area of triangle equals to half times base times height. From this, what I can do is to say that for B plus C equals to A plus D plus E, which means that my 4 units over here equals to the 6 parts I have. Now, what I want to do is to equate them. I want to find a common multiple so that I can make them the same. So I will have 12 units here equals to 12 parts. Right, so for B and C, what I did was 2 times 3. And for AD and E, what I did was 2 times 2. From here, I want to bring this down so I can change it. So B and C, when I multiply by 3 on both sides, I get 9:3. And for A, D, and E, I'm going to multiply all of them by 2. And that will give me 4:6:2. Alright, now let's look at the question once again. What are they asking us? To express the area of A as a fraction of the area of B. What I can do is just look at A. A, I have 4 units over B, which is 9 units. And this is my answer for question 30. Thank you.
Hi everyone, if you like this video, you can click right here for a similar video, or you can view our playlist here.